Today we will be going over estimating sums and differences. So that means estimating addition and subtraction problems. When we have our four operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, they have different sets of estimation rules depending on the operation. Now the rule when you are adding and subtracting is you must round both numbers to the same place. So both numbers have to go to the same place. Now looking at this first problem here, I have 324 plus 18. Now a lot of you might think, oh, I'm going to round 324 to the hundreds place. Well, 18 does not have a hundreds place. So if you think about it, well, if I rounded that to 300 and then I rounded this other number to 20, it doesn't really make sense because why is this 20 important, but I threw this 20 away? So that 20 would still be important, it's still significant, so I want to round these to the same place. Well, since they both do not have a hundreds place, then I would move over to the next place, which is the tens. Do they both have a tens place? Yes, they do, so I'm going to round both numbers to the tens place. So I want to underline my tens place and circle next door. Now just looking at the underlining and the circling, that's going to tell me what to round to. So 24 is going to round to 20. But it's not just 20, it's going to be 320. You need to bring that 3 along for the ride. And then 18 also happens to round up to 20. And then once I get those two rounded numbers, then I would add them. So that's going to be my actual estimate. I have to solve the problem with my rounded numbers, and my estimate would be 340. Now looking at this next example here, I start at the biggest place, the hundreds. Do they both have a hundreds place? Yes, they do. So I am going to round these both to the hundreds place. So whatever the biggest place that they both have is, that's the place you're going to round to. So I underline, I circle. This first number is going to round to 300. And the second number is going to round to 100. And then when I add those up, I get an estimate of 400. So we're going to be practicing using these rules today. So starting out, we're going to do some problems and you can work them out and then pause, work them out and then pause. So write this problem down here and I want you to underline and circle to show where you would round each problem to, but I don't want you to actually solve. I just want you to underline and circle. So first, copy the first one down, underline and circle. So I would pause the video after you've copied it and then unpause it to see if you got it right. So you should have underlined and circled the hundreds place because they both have a hundreds place. Okay, going to the next one, write it down, pause the video, underline and circle. Once you've unpaused the video, you should have underlined and circled the hundreds place on both of these because they both share the hundreds place. Next one. So copy it down, pause the video, and then underline and circle. So these do not both have a hundreds place, so I would move over to the tens place and underline and circle my tens place. Next problem, copy it down. Pause the video, underline and circle. So you would have to go all the way over to the tens place on these because they do not both have a thousands and they do not both have hundreds. Copy it, underline and circle. Pause the video. So on this one, you should have underline and circle the tens place. And then finally, pause the video, underline and circle. This one, you should have rounded them to the tens place. So once again, the rule is you should be rounding to the same place in both of the numbers before you try solving the problem. So now we're going to go through those same problems and we're going to actually solve the problem. So we're going to underline, circle, and round. So we'll do the first one together. So copy it down. The first step would be finding the place you round to, which they do not both have a thousands place. So I would move over. They both have a hundreds place. So I'm going to underline and circle the hundreds place. So the first number is going to round to 3,400. And the other number is going to round to 400. And normally when you round these, they will have the same number of zeros. The only exception to that is if they have something that has a 9 that rounds up to a 10, you would end up with an extra 0. So once I've rounded them, I look back at my sign. This is an addition sign, so I'm going to add these up, and I would get 3,800. Okay, going to the next one. Okay, so this one, copy it down. I want you to pause the video, underline, circle, round, go all the way through solving, and then unpause it and see how you did. So you should have underlined and circled your hundreds places. The first one rounds to 700. The second one rounds to 300. This is a subtraction problem, so you should have gotten 400. Next problem, copy it down, pause the video, underline, circle, round, and solve. Okay, so you should have rounded to the tens place. So this one's 670. The other number rounds to 90, and this is an addition problem. So we add this up and we get 760. Going to the next one, copy it down, solve the problem. So this one, you should have gotten 6,470, and then the other number rounds to 70, and we are subtracting, and we would get 6,400. Next one. Okay, so this would be 50 and 70, and together they make 120. Okay, last problem. Remember to pause the video as you solve. So it rounds to 420 and 70, and we're going to be subtracting here. This one we do need to borrow, and you would get 350. So remember, when rounding or estimating addition and subtraction problems, you have to round the numbers to the same place before solving.